some pretty interesting news that's come out. Not earth-shattering stuff, but stuff that I thought was interesting that I want to cover today. I want to go over McDaniel's take on the run game, his take on the fifth-year option, how it deals with Lamar being out, and also how it kind of reflects on Noah, and then the Bethel re-signing, how that also reflects on Noah. I want to focus on Noah there, and then the VG contract and McDaniel's take on Fangio. So it's run game, fifth-year option with Tua, Bethel, VG contract, and Fangio. So I also want to say to some longtime viewers, I haven't been myself for probably about a year and a half, been very sick. Haven't been able to figure it out. Some doctor finally told me he could fix it. I'm on a 12 procedure in 1 month program here. I did the first one yesterday. I feel great today. It's been a hard ride. I'm hoping this is not the placebo effect, and I'm not wasting a lot of money to get healthy when I'm just going to be back to the same, because the back to the same, I've been losing my memory, can't remember stuff, haven't felt like myself, haven't really been able to work out. It's been a hard ride for a year and a half, guys. So if you can, just draw out some prayers and hopes for me that I can finally be me again. So I'll let you know how it goes, because if it works, I think there's other people out there that might benefit. No doctor, but I can just give you my personal anecdotal experience. But again. So anyway, before I get into that, I just want to say thanks, guys, for everything you do. I want to give you a shout out for all the likes, the subscribes, comments especially. It all means everything to me, especially the comments. So I want to give you guys a shout out. Shout out to A-Spread, my sponsor. Without you, without them, this show ain't going down. A-Spread's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I want to start off with McDaniel. He's at the owners meeting, and so he's talking. And so there's some real interesting stuff that's come out. And first one I want to talk about is from Barry Jackson. He said this. I mean, you can check it in multiple sources. I just picked his. McDaniel said in games they didn't run well. Miami had injuries, and some games I didn't call enough runs. Remember, Mostert and Wilson both re-signed, averaged 4.9 per carry last season. 11th best in the league, both back. McDaniel, they're playing the best ball of their career. Now, there's a few things I want to unpack. I've been talking since I've been doing this for 2 years, going into the third season, how run game, more importantly, the offensive line, because it generates the run game. It's the biggest asset or driver of the run game, was critical. It was critical in 2021 when Tua was getting pressured up the yin-yang because we had the worst offensive line, the worst offensive line that I remember in 42 years. We had to run 12 personnel, couldn't run teams out of the nickel, and he had to throw short. They said he had a noodle on, but it really was just the pressure and no offensive line and no run game to get them out of the nickel. It also wore down the defense, and so that lack of run game, lack of offensive line, sunk Tua and the offense and sunk the defense. And then 2022, I said the same thing. I said, yes, Hill and Waddle create unbelievable game-changing leverage, but the game of football is about the trenches, and you need a run game of some sorts because you get into certain games in critical situations and bad environments, hostile environments, snow, wind, and rain, and against good defenses that you're going to need to be balanced, and his offensive line needs to protect, and it also needs to create holes for these running backs. And if we don't get it, it's going to be big problems. And I had some, no. And I think now most Fin fans are agreeing that the offensive line and run game is the key piece to it all. It's not the end piece, but it's the starting piece. So when I heard we hired McDaniel, who I wanted, the run good game coordinator, I was very excited. And then when I didn't see it last year, it bothered me. It bothered me tremendously because we could have won a couple more games just simply by running the ball more, even if it was semi-ineffective. Now, injuries mattered. The loss of Tehran, my man Tehran, who I, was preaching to the choir or preaching to the viewers from preseason on, how critical he was. without him, it all changes. It really is a difference maker. It changes everything. But when he's in there, it changes things. So he's correct. The injuries really played a big part. I mean, you had a shell game back and forth. Eichenberg in, Jones in, Eichenberg back in, Jackson out, Shell in, Shell out, Little in, Armstead. It was terrible. Injuries destroy chemistry, and chemistry is the most critical for any group in the NFL as it is in the offensive line. Chemistry is essential in the offensive line. So I totally agree with what he's saying here. And then he said he didn't call enough plays, which everybody kind of understands. Yeah. I mean, when snow started falling in Buffalo, you don't just keep chucking and ducking. Okay, when you're playing against them in a playoff game, you run a football when you're going against the 32nd defense or 31st defense in the NFL, run defense, and you don't run a football game like the Chargers, and you only run, 8 times or something against San Fran? Yeah, okay. So that's good. He understands. He's a run game coordinator. This is great news that he's going to get it and move forward, and all Fin fans should be excited. But 4.9 yards per carry is a little misguiding or misleading, because we would get pop plays and these big plays after a bunch of no plays. And so it looked good because we ran so little that a couple of big pop plays skewed things. We struggled to run block. Now, not all the time. And when Teron was in and Jones was in and O'Connor and Hunt and Shell, we could run the football. And that was a lot of where our running came from. So I'm hoping that he understands this, and I'm going to tie that into our draft. I still got to believe that Chris Grier and McDaniel are going to add some blockers in this draft. I mean, a tight end blocker, some interior lineman, or even a tackle. I got to believe it. And if they do, if we can run the football 4.9 legitimately against big nickels, against 4-3s on a consistent basis, will be unstoppable. Because Waddle and Hill are able to get open. But when teams sit in their nickel and they play the pass all day, it is not a free ride, especially against these good defense and bad weather. So this is the key. Offensive line, making the blocking happen. Mostert and Wilson are good backs, given the right space. The zone stretch, they can pop those big ones, but you need that inside zone in short down situations, even 3rd and 3 to get that first. It changes everything. When defenses look on your film and they see you ran it on 3rd and 3 and you picked up the first on a few occasions, now it changes the DC's calls and it changes the reads on the defense, the defensive players. They're not just dropping. Snap and drop. How many times our play action, nobody bites? But you go back, watch the games. When they were starting to bite on our run attacks in the play action, it would bite. We were having an easy day. So this is great news. We just need to add a little bit more, but I just wanted to add context to that. So now the 5th-year option. I just want to do a quick hit on this. McDaniel said it's more like, all right, well, you know what? Especially the media members that are in South Florida, they need to know this. We need to tell them this 5th-year option is, once we knew, we knew. So that way, I didn't have to play unnecessary poker face for no reason. We knew once we did our due diligence in our process, it made a ton of sense for us. So we wanted to communicate and get that done and move forward with our lives. The one thing that we got to understand, and I've been talking about it for 2 years, is the impact fans have. The media was a smaller piece to the driving factor to add the 5th-year option. So they didn't have to hear, are you going for Lamar? Is he your starting quarterback? Or do you guys, it ends all of that. But they did this to appease the media and to kind of stifle that because it's draining and it's tiring for everybody involved to answer Tua or not to Tua. So I'm glad it's locked in. We don't have to hear anything. We have a 2-year window. I wanted them to wait the year and then you're going to just put a tag on him. Because I thought if he stays healthy, you just sign him long term. But here we are, and that's the good news. The bad news is the people who cover the Dolphins, whether it's me, or a little guy like me, or the big guys in the social media thing, or the big players like that, we've got to watch the bloviation, the overreactions of certain things, because we have influence and we can drive the franchise to make decisions not based on the best for the football team, but maybe it's the best for the football team, but it's kind of also to appease the image, the narrative. And you don't want that, because this case, it's okay. It's a good move. It's not a deadly move, but in the future, it could make them make a move that hurts the team. And we don't want that. So don't drive false narratives. Don't get into the vapors over every little thing as a community. We've got to kind of be steady Eddie and just ride this out. We got 2 years. Let's see it play out and just watch what we're driving as narratives. So Dolphins, you can see right here from Omar Kelly, Dolphins have re-signed cornerback Justin Bethel. I'm glad that we signed Bethel. It's a good sign in a sense. If you look at our cornerback depth group, you can see here Bethel, Ramsey, Needham, Ellis, Kohu, Williams, Crossan, Ignabony, and Howard. That's 9 cornerbacks. We take 6 pretty much during the season. We had 5. We had a crazy amount of injuries, but 6 is what we're probably going to take. And Howard they're going to keep. Crossan they're going to keep. He's a special teams ace. Kohu, Needham, and Ramsey. That's 5 guys. And that means there's 1 spot left for Bethel, Ellis, Williams, and Ignabony. And to me, this is a good sign that he's going to have to earn that spot. And if he doesn't earn the spot and they give it to him, that's a bad sign to me. But I think Grier added Bethel to really finally create some real competition for this kid to keep his job. I'm praying it's the case. I'm also praying the case they draft a right tackle or guard in this draft, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. I think tight end's definitely going to be one of those 2 to create real competition at those positions. Because the good thing for Grier is he sticks by the guys he drafts. That's a noble thing. But if you go too far, it becomes a detrimental thing to the team. And I think he's gone to that point and beyond. This is a year we need to hit it. We need real competition. We're not going to know if he's going to get rid of Kohu until the end of training camp going into week 1. But if they draft a guard or tackle in that second or third, I believe it's a sign there's going to be real competition. And this is a great thing for Miami Dolphins. It will say great things to the team because they know one guy should be starting and when they shouldn't be, and they're being started because of their pedigree. So let's hope this is true, that Bethel is a hint to real competition. Let's get the sign, steal, and delivery of a guard and tackle drafted, one or the other, not 2, in this draft coming up. And I think there'll be good mojo going into the season. Now, I want to get into the Fangio thing. McDaniel said this: working with Vic has validated everything I thought when I made the decision to target him as an offensive coordinator. I spent 20 hours a week for the last several weeks meeting with the defense. He looks at things a lot like I do on the defense side of the ball. McDaniel likes his devotion to tape, his devotion to coaching, not in absolutes, but through relationships and really trying to get the best out of the players in every way, shape, or form. Not putting them in a box, not defining them. It's similar to the way I've always looked at football. McDaniel said there's been some reputation that Vic has gone through in his career that he might be grumpy. In our office, he has been cheerful, happy-go-lucky. This is more and more great stuff. Why Fangio is awesome. The guy's going to make a big difference. I think we're going to see a big cut down on these penalties. You're going to see a big rise in the acumen of the DC, not to knock Boyer. But this guy, Fangio, is a star in the NFL. Teams have followed his defenses. He continually reshapes his defense. And this guy brings everything that McDaniel needs to this team as far as coaching, defense, but for the total thought process. Because he's going to help McDaniel understand hey, look, offense, what are you thinking? It's going to help him shape his game plan. It's going to go through every aspect of this team because Fangio was a head coach as well. So really happy about this. This was a great little bit of news. And then lastly, second to last, last two parts, I forgot to add one part in. I'm going to add in about Lamar. Lamar's out. Lamar is not a guy we want on this team. It's not because Lamar sucks. It's because Lamar has been beat to hell by the Ravens, who have used him to win games and not really developed him. His body is beat up. He's got a style that's very risky, and he has a huge injury history and a giant tag to him. I mean, he's going to be like $50 million. So we got a 2-year window. 2 is the guy for this year and next year because of his price and because whatever you say about his injury history, he doesn't run the football a lot. Every time you run, it puts you in a lottery to get injured. I'm glad they're out. They're out of the Lamar thing. This is very, very good news. Whatever you think, Lamar would not be a great option for us because you don't want your $50 million quarterback to go down because he has to run and he hasn't been developed properly. So last part is the VG contract. Greer has done some great things. He was patient with VG, and he got him for $2.65 million for the season. Now, this is a steal. Somebody was telling me that VG had 21 special teams tackles along with his regular production. He's not a star. He's not elite, but this is a core guy you want on your team. To get him for 1 year for $2.65 million, it sucks for him, but it's great for us. So he's got a 1-year prove-it deal. I didn't realize how old he is. He's 28. He kind of came out a little late. I think he's got to make good this season, or else he's going to be one of these guys getting these low ball deals and playing for not much. I think this guy has talent. He could be a starter on some teams. I think this guy deserves more money. I was surprised he didn't, but I also understand. But we have to take a look at his little image here, this little image here from PFF, and you can see, he had that appendectomy going into the season, and it just wasn't a full season for him. He had some early bumps. It took him a little while to get going, but he had a solid season. He had, out of 98 pass rushes, he had 11 pressures. That's a great rate. That's over 10%. Now, he had a struggle in his run defense from week 9 all the way to week 14. His coverage isn't so great, and it's a little bit of a knock on him too. But this guy is a solid player for us. And I'm hoping he has a great season so he can get paid. Because, he's making good money, but you take 50% out of that by taxes and what you're doing to your body, it's a lot, but, it's not enough. I mean, you could get paralyzed, killed, or his brain destroyed at any point. So I want to see this guy do well to make more money. Last year, the appendectomy forced the Dolphins to, I think it was in the timing, to bring in Ingram, and Ingram took away a lot of his snaps, and it really derailed his opportunity to have a nice free agency. Let's hope for a good guy, a great player. He has a great season for us, but also for him to get a nice contract going into next season. Anyway, this is Curtis. I appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you for stopping by. You guys are the best. Catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.